Because here's the problem. Here's the problem, Brian. She did a news conference, as all of us remember, answered a whole lot of questions about the email server, and all of that. If she had time for the news media, and she's going to have time for the Justice Department, why disrespect the Inspector General of the State Department, the department she ran for 4 years, and not at least go to a meeting with the Inspector General and answer a whole bunch of questions?
I think it's important to take a step back here, Wolf, and understand that, as everybody knows, she sat through an 11-hour session with the House Benghazi Committee, which has made it its business to investigate this email matter.
But that was on the Benghazi operation. That was not on the email server.
Well, I raise it, Wolf, only because the Benghazi Committee made its jurisdiction also include emails. So they didn't spare any detail in terms of the degree to which they probed Hillary Clinton on the matter of her server. And she sat through rounds of questioning from a House Oversight Committee with Republicans that were happy to try to make this a painful experience for her. So the idea that she's been shirking questioners on this issue is just not valid. In addition to that,
why disrespect the Inspector General?
Well, just to add to that, Wolf, these same aides, many of them, in addition to being questioned by that same House Benghazi Committee, are also now submitting to depositions from right-wing groups like Judicial Watch that have filed lawsuits about this same issue. So both Hillary Clinton and her top aides that were involved in this are answering questions from a panoply of different folks that are interested in getting to the bottom of this.
But you're a former spokesman,
final...
Brian, you're a former spokesman of the Justice Department. It looks as if she's got something to hide when she doesn't even want to answer questions from the Inspector General of the State Department.
No, well, look, Wolf, if she had anything to hide, she wouldn't be volunteering since last August to go face questions from the Justice Department, where the stakes will be much higher than this State Department IG investigation. And as I said, the appropriateness of the State Department IG's office conducting this review at the same time when the Justice Department was already looking to this same issue is an open question. There were questions raised about this office during the course of its investigation. There were reports about individuals in this office coming forward and suggesting that there were hints of an anti-Clinton bias inside that office. All of that added up to...
That's interesting. Are you accusing the Inspector General of the State Department of having an anti-Clinton bias? And once again, this Inspector General was named by President Obama.
Actually, Wolf, I think the report today backs up much of what we were saying, includes an appropriate amount of context about how widespread the use of personal email was. So I actually think the report today puts a lot of those questions to bed based on how fair it was in explaining that the use of personal email was widespread and done by her predecessors, including Secretary Powell. I mention it only because it was another factor in contributing to this sense of uncertainty about why this office was conducting a parallel review and seeking to hasten its timeline to prejudge the outcome of the very same matter that the Justice Department was investigating. So, look, at the end of the Justice Department's review, Hillary Clinton, presumably if she's asked, will have cooperated in full, answered every question that the Justice Department lawyers want to ask of her. The same will be true of all the aides that cooperate in the way that she has asked them to do. And at that point, she'll have cooperated in full with a full-on DOJ review. She'll have cooperated in full with a congressional committee's investigation into this matter. She'll have cooperated, or her aides will have testified and given interviews in various lawsuits brought by third parties. I think that at the end of this, it will be impossible for anybody to suggest that she didn't answer every question that anybody had.
I think the only difference is Secretary Powell did cooperate with the Inspector General. And the whole point of an Inspector General, whether the State Department, the Pentagon, the intelligence community, any other agency of the government, is to learn from mistakes, fix those mistakes so the problems don't recur. When the Secretary of State, the former Secretary of State, refuses to cooperate, that's a problem.